Well, welcome to the Beyond Cinema studio here at Tiff, Mr. Ralph Steadman and Charlie Paul.
Thank you.
15 years on this project, Charlie. What made this an itch that needed scratching?
It was an admiration for a man that obviously is perfect for a film. Ralph has been so entertaining throughout the last 15 years. There wasn't a moment. The reason it took 15 years, we were in no hurry to finish it. We had such a great time making the film together that it just rolled on. It was my producer that put an end to it all in the end.
Another fine mess, she said.
Yeah, exactly.
Producing's having a project that you're doing with your wife. Obviously, you have a business together and based in, kind of formed from animation as well as a key component. In terms of that, kind of getting to meet an idol of that form, of that artistry, what was it like for you getting to see through that camera that was set up over Ralph's station for 10 years?
It was constantly surprising, as you can imagine. There wasn't a pre-planned plot, and if there was, it would have changed on the day. And it was a constantly evolving film, really. Every day I turned up at Ralph's, he would come up with a new idea, and I'd just follow the lead, really. And in the end, we managed to start joining everything together and making a project out of it.
Was it more for your own knowledge and satisfaction, or was it always something that you were wanting to share with others?
It was definitely something I wanted to share with others. I mean, I was there obviously through my own fascination, but I really wanted to bring Ralph's art to the world, and I felt the movie medium was the best for Ralph's moving art.
Ralph, having a camera above your station and while you were working.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Did it show you anything that you didn't know already about
yourself?
yourself?
I liked the idea that I could make a mark and that mark could be recorded just like that, a little click of a push button. And then I could add another bit and add another and realise that in a way I was making a moving picture.
Yeah.
And that was kind of interesting, I liked it. It was actually the opposite to Gonzo. I called it Banzo. It's bad Gonzo,
But in terms of, okay, so let's talk about Gonzo for a second.
Never talk about Gonzo.
Obviously,
yeah, you mentioned the word.
Obviously, and Alex Gibney actually was in here this morning
as
well. But that period of your life that led to the book, The Joke's Over, as well, talking about your time with Hunter Thompson. Yeah. Any of the paraphernalia that you're wearing a sign of those times?
Santa Fe, 1972, I think, and I got this Navajo Indian thing, and I've worn it ever since. And then Hunter gave me that, and he said, "Wear this, Ralph. It'll ward off evil spirits." So that's why I'm such a mess.
But what was that? What was the first time you met him? Like, what was that first meeting?
We met in Kentucky. I was asked to go to, would I like to go to Kentucky and meet an ex-Hells Angel who just shaved his head. And so it sounds interesting, I'm looking for work. And so we turned up there, and I was ages looking for, I couldn't find him the first day, the second day, and the third day we suddenly heard something behind me say, "Excuse me." Excuse me. And I turned around, I had a beard at the time, he went like that. For some reason, unfamiliar with beards. Oh, excuse me, you were Ralph Steadman, the English artist, I said, "It's me, are you Hunter Thompson?" Well, I looked up, because he was a big guy, 6'6", and he says, "Yes, I'm him." So I said, "Well, we're supposed to meet, aren't we, doing something?" "That's right," he said. You're late, where the hell have you been?" So I said, "Well, I'm sorry, I've been looking for you." "Oh my God, you look very hard, Well, should we get a beer and sit down and watch a couple of races?" So we got the beers and we sat down, and he said, "Do you bet?" I said, "Well, I bet once on Early Mist, the Grand National, 1952. What was it, 54? Something like that, 54. It came in at 20 to 1. And I put 2 shillings on it, which I had my pocket money, He said, "Oh, you're pretty good then." I said, "I don't know." He said, "Why don't you pick any horse out there, that's running, and see if it comes in." And I just picked one, and it happened to be called Holy Land. So I said, I'll pick it. I won't bet on it, but I'll pick it. So I picked Holy Land, and it won. He said, hey, you're pretty good at this. Why don't you put $1 on it, you know? So I said, well, okay then. So I put $1 on, you know, and I can't remember the name of the horse now, and it lost anyway. So I said, that's why I don't bet, you know. So I always pick them, you know, but if I put some money on it, never bothers.
In terms of those assignments at the time, the New Yorker, Rolling Stone, Punch magazine, was there any one of those in particular that really, for you, meant a great deal more than any other?
Well, funnily enough, it probably was the visit to Hawaii, you know, that sort of, we spent 5 weeks together in sort of next door to one another. And he was always, I mean, I had Sadie, our daughter there, you know, 5 years old, and he was creeping into the flat at night to look for booze and things like that, and stepping over heads, you know. He could have killed any one of us, really. But he was easy to be with, actually. I couldn't. Well, it's damned annoying. I became, for him, when I went on assignment, I became the bird in the cage. Edward, we bang a cage for his minor bird. You know, Edward! I'm coming to get you, Edward. I'm coming to get you, Edward. There is no bird god, Edward, that's going to get you now. I'm going to help you. I got you. I'm going to kill you and eat you. And he put his hand in the cage, you know, and get this poor bird out. He's doing this to him, you know. One felt like rushing for the RSPCA or whatever, you know. Or the RSPB, I think it's called, the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds. They should have been down on him like a ton of bricks, really. But in another way, whilst he tormented things, he was also easygoing with them, somehow gentle with them. So he had all these peacocks in the place. He obviously loved wildlife about the place, you know, and it seemed to have its own patch and its own place, and it did its own stuff in its own place. And it was just there all the time, you know. And then there was suddenly there'll be a squawk, and you know why he liked it. Because it was doing that. It was a scream, a primal scream came out of these birds. So he was just a hell of a bloke to be around, you know.
Yeah.
And he had a funny cat, a weird cat. I wrote a book about it, you know.
About the cat?
Yeah, because it was kind of weird. Well, I had 2 weeks there doing practically nothing. And he was sleeping most of the time. I'd sit about wondering. So I wrote a book about this cat, and yeah, I got it published. And it just, but I had it published as the written book, you know, with the cat doing different things in it. I'm trying to remember what it was called now. I can't remember. It's so many.
For no good reason, in terms of names of things,
Yeah.
the name of the film kind of juxtaposed against perhaps a statement that I've read about you, that you'd learned to draw, you know, to change the world.
Yeah.
To juxtapose that against For No Good Reason seems to be two statements that you could live your life by. Which
Yeah,
one is
well, the
more
point is that
applicable?
I have changed the world. It's worse now than it was when it started, you know, and that was what I was hoping. And it really is a mess now. No, it's a hell of a mess. It's really like, you know, the ultimate custard pie, the world, you know. It seems to be in a, doesn't know where it's coming or going, I don't think. And I'm not being philosophic now, I'm just being depressing for you.
Cheer up, Ralph. Okay, back to being cheery.
Charlie.
Oh, cheery.
Yeah,
Charlie,
cheery.
Charlie, there was obviously this huge force of the counterculture at play when Ralph's work was, you know, especially around the time of Hunter.
Yeah.
In terms of your own kind of growth, I remember reading that you were a self-admitted punk / all sorts of other forms of expression.
Absolutely.
Has that subdued for you, or is that still an element that burns?
I mean, obviously, being a punk, Ralph's work was the perfect voice for kind of anger and speed and all the things that you think are of value in that time. Do I still have that? Well, luckily for me, being with Ralph for the last 15 years, he's kept that ember burning for me. And yeah, I mean, to be perfectly honest, Ralph's outlook on life is very much a kind of like a punk outlook. He's very much out there to stir things up, and that's been a great passage for me making the film.
And to bring all these different musicians and other collaborators onto the project, people like, you know, Slash and Jason Mraz and James Blake, and in terms of just a creative exercise, what kind of informed anything more than anything else? Was it Johnny Depp coming on board? Did that act as a big catalyst? What was the kind
absolutely. But the music-wise, everybody wanted to be on board. I mean, every musician in the film actually wanted to contribute because of Ralph. They're all lifelong fans of Ralph, and that wasn't a reason for selecting them, but it made working with them such a pleasure. Ed Hardcore has a very large tattoo, a Gonzo tattoo on his back, for example. They're all lifelong fans of the Gonzo ethic. And so it was more a matter of picking the right people for the film. Everyone was very willing to work on. And as far as Johnny's concerned, he's been around for many years before I even started the film. Johnny and Ralph go back a long time, so it was a matter of just informing Johnny what we're doing to get him involved.
Another Kentucky boy.
He's done full circle, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's in the Bahamas now or whatever.
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
But what was it about him that made him like such an attractive component of that?
A gentle person. When I met him, it was by accident in Owl Farm in Woody Creek in Aspen, and he was such a gentle person. I met John Cusack there as well, and Benicio del Toro was there. They were always coming by. They wanted to meet Hunter, you know. So, and I think they wanted to meet Edward the bird, you know.
Was that it? Was that the fascination?
I think
Is that
so,
the
yeah.
Unpredictability?
Yeah, I think so. What the hell's he going to do next?
I think didn't Hunter give Johnny one of those birds? I think Johnny was telling you how Hunter gave him one, which then immediately flew out the cage, and he was going, "Damn bird!"
Yeah,
like that. He was like, "Damn Hunter for giving me that bird in the first place." But yeah, Hunter had a habit of giving people things that cause more problem than anything else.
So, what inspires you now? Do you still have an agenda, or is
a
it
mess? Actually,
Yeah,
a mess. You know, see a mess, and you start looking, you seeing faces in it, and when you start seeing faces in things, it's like seeing things. You know, it's a mental condition. I suffer from a serious mental condition. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Huh?
Yeah, that's
All
interesting.
right.
Yeah, and that's without the mescaline and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, there's nothing going on now. No, I don't do that. That's what I don't do. I make that clear. I don't do that. I did it once only. I nearly ended up in prison, I think. So, you know, that was the business of painting profanity on the side of one of the $1 million yachts in Rhode Island. You know.
Wasn't it the case that you were complaining of being seasick, and then Hunter said, "Well, have one of these."
Yeah, have one of these.
Better.
Yeah, that's it.
And
Just
that was the
psilocybin.
beginning. Yeah.
You know, and it's hallucinogenic, and that was what I had, and it was snarling red-eyed dogs for quite a long time. I was ages coming down. I was still coming down when I got getting on the plane to New York. You know, again.
Very cool.
And in fact, I realised I lost my shoes, so I walked the streets of New York barefoot, and ended up at the Irish pub on 42nd Street. I don't know whether it's still there, but I went there and he said, "Oh, you're back. How are you doing?" "Oh, I don't know. I need a drink, please. Just give me I'd like a Guinness, please." You know. And I did that, and I had to find a place to stay because I was going to stay another 8 weeks, you know, and work in New York and take pictures of New York and absorb the idea of America, you know, in some form, at least a part of it. I mean, it ain't exactly the deep south, New York, but it's a place to go.
Well, at least Guinness is good for your health, right?
It was, I suppose, then. Yeah. I can't drink it now, but no.
Well, good to meet you and have you in here, and congratulations on the epic journey that you guys have been on.
Thank you.
Looking forward to the artist you focus on next.
Great.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.